What if I told you that in a quiet, unheralded shift, a nation you've long considered a regional underdog has just become wealthier than a manufacturing titan like Thailand? Sounds unbelievable, right? You might think this is just another clickbait headline, a misinterpretation of numbers. I understand that skepticism. After all, for decades, the economic narrative of Southeast Asia was a simple, predictable one. If you're interested in this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and type interested in the comments. And I will give you a heart. Thailand was the established powerhouse, the Detroit of Asia. The Philippines, by contrast, was often seen as a land of stunning beaches and a vibrant but perpetually struggling population, an economy always playing catch-up. You might assume this is a short-term fluke, a statistical anomaly that will disappear by next quarter. But that's where the truth gets far more interesting. Because the numbers tell a different story, a story of a fundamental tectonic shift in economic power that the mainstream media is completely missing. A major, undeniable report from the World Bank confirms it. In one of the most critical measures of a nation's wealth, the Philippines surpassed Thailand. This isn't a fluke, it's the culmination of decades of a hidden, unconventional economic model. I know what you're thinking: how could this possibly happen? The answer lies in a single vital metric you've likely never heard of: a powerful human-centric economic engine that no other major Southeast Asian country has. And if you stick with us for the next 40 minutes, you'll not only understand this astonishing shift, but you'll gain an entirely new perspective on global finance and the incredible power of a nation's people. You will see firsthand how a country can leverage its most valuable resource, its human capital, to rewrite its destiny. And to get you started, we've created a free downloadable resource, a one-page infographic that breaks down the key economic indicators of Southeast Asia, a perfect cheat sheet to impress your friends or colleagues. The link is in the description. Now, let's begin our journey by uncovering the secret behind this incredible GNI gap. Today, we're going to solve this mystery, pulling back the curtain on the quiet revolution that has been brewing for decades. We'll show you exactly how the Philippines did it, armed with cold, hard numbers and the emotionally resonant human stories behind them. We'll pull back the curtain on the single most important metric that unlocked this shift, the incredible, almost magical gap between the Philippines' GDP and its GNI. This distinction is the key to everything, and we'll explain it in simple, visual terms you won't forget. You'll discover how a tragic national sacrifice has been transformed into a powerful economic engine. We'll introduce you to the unsung heroes of this economic miracle, uncover the digital revolution powering the country, and reveal the massive foreign investments that are set to transform the entire nation. We'll also confront the old challenges, the ghosts of the past that still haunt the nation, and show you how they might finally be overcome. By the end of this video, you will understand how a country, long considered an underdog, has used a unique combination of human capital and global opportunity to rise to the top. But to truly grasp this, we must first go into the single most unique and powerful driver of this economic boom: the invisible engine that is fueling this entire ascendancy. This engine is not a factory, not a mine, and not a port. It's a resource that a country can tap from anywhere in the world. It's what happens when you build an economy not just on land and machines, but on the unwavering spirit and hard work of its people. To understand the breathtaking rise of the Philippines, we first have to understand the difference between GDP and GNI. Think of GDP as a country's total paycheck from what it produces inside its borders, the goods made in factories, the services sold locally. GNI, however, is a much broader measure. It's the total paycheck from what its people earn, no matter where they are in the world. And that's where the secret lies, the key to how the Philippines surpassed Thailand. For decades, millions of Filipinos have been working abroad, a heartbreaking sacrifice that separates them from their families. They are the invisible engine. These are not just low-wage workers. They are highly skilled nurses in the US and Europe, engineers and professionals in the Middle East, and seafarers on global ships. In 2024 alone, they sent home an astonishing $38.3 billion in remittances. That's not just a number, it's a lifeline. It's the money for a child's education, for a family to start a small business, for a home to be built. These remittances now make up a staggering 8.3% of the Philippines' GDP and 7.4% of its GNI, a gap that is unique among all the major economies in Southeast Asia. This inflow of cash has created a powerful, resilient economic model that acts as a buffer against global shocks and a constant stimulus for local consumption. While Thailand's economy is heavily tied to what it can physically produce and export, The Philippines' wealth is tied to its most valuable resource, its people. But remittances are only half the story. Another quiet revolution, built on a different kind of export, has been happening at home, a phenomenon that has made the Philippines a global leader in a high-tech industry. While millions of Filipinos were sending money home, a new kind of economic engine was being built on the islands themselves. The Philippines' IT and business process outsourcing BPO sector is no longer just a call center industry. It's a global powerhouse. As of 2025, this sector employs over 2 million people and generates a jaw-dropping $40 billion in revenue, capturing a significant 10% of the entire global IT and BPO market. This is a massive, thriving, and high-tech industry that is creating a new, educated middle class and providing millions of well-paying jobs. The Philippines truly shines here, leveraging a large, young, and highly educated English-speaking population to provide world-class services to companies all over the globe. This isn't about cheap labor, it's about quality talent. It's about a culture of hospitality and service that has been fused with modern technology. This booming sector is an engine of domestic growth that has helped propel the Philippines past its rivals. The revenue from these services and the remittances from abroad now account for nearly 20% of the country's entire GDP. This is a powerful, people-driven economic model that is proving to be more resilient and dynamic than a reliance on manufacturing alone. But the service sector isn't just about phones and computers. A much more ancient industry is also having a massive comeback, one that is literally putting the country back on the world stage. The global pandemic was a devastating blow to the world's tourism industry, and the Philippines was hit hard. But what we are seeing now is not just a recovery, it's a resurgence. The country's post-pandemic tourism industry is roaring back to life, fueled by a renewed global desire for natural beauty and authentic experiences. With its stunning natural beauty, from the world-famous white sand beaches of Boracay to the pristine dive sites of Palawan, the country is a tourist magnet. And the Filipino people's legendary hospitality, a key element of their service-oriented culture, makes the country an unforgettable destination. This tourism boom is feeding directly into the country's massive service sector, creating millions of jobs and injecting billions of dollars into the local economy. It's creating a virtuous cycle where increased tourism revenue funds better infrastructure and services, which in turn attracts more tourists. But this boom can't happen without a new physical backbone, a complete overhaul of the country's transportation and logistics networks. For decades, the Philippines was held back by a single critical weakness. But now, that is all changing. And it's changing faster than anyone thought possible. For generations, the Philippines' greatest economic hurdle was its aging and inadequate infrastructure. The congestion in cities like Manila was legendary, a problem that cost the country billions of dollars in lost productivity and wasted time. But the government's ambitious Build, Build, Build program, now known as Build Better More, is tackling this problem head-on. This is not just a handful of new projects, it's a complete, national-scale infrastructure revolution. With massive projects like the $25 billion North-South Commuter Railway and the country's first-ever subway system in Metro Manila, the Philippines is finally building the physical network it needs to support its economic growth. This isn't just about faster commutes, it's about connecting the entire archipelago, making it easier for businesses to operate, and opening up new regions for investment. It's a literal foundation for the future, a clear sign to the world that the country is serious about becoming a major economic player. This infrastructure push is a critical step in modernizing the country and attracting more investment. But here's the most surprising part of this story: they aren't doing it alone. This colossal effort is being financed and supported by some of the most powerful countries on Earth, and their motivations are more strategic than you might think. One of the most fascinating and complex layers of this story is how geopolitics is accelerating the narrative that the Philippines surpassed Thailand. In a world where global supply chains are being rerouted and major powers are looking for new strategic partners, the Philippines has become a key player. The United States and Japan, both eager to diversify their investments away from China, are pouring billions of dollars into the country. Japan is financing over 80% of those multi-billion-dollar railway projects we just talked about. Meanwhile, the US is heavily investing in the Philippines' booming semiconductor and IT BPO sectors. This isn't charity, it's a strategic alliance. The Philippines, with its strategic location and growing economy, is now a preferred destination for businesses looking for stability and growth in a tumultuous region. These partnerships are a direct result of global tensions, and they are providing the capital and expertise needed to fast-track the Philippines' development. But this new alliance isn't just about roads and semiconductors. It's about a revolutionary new source of power that could fuel the country's rise for generations, a technology that was once unthinkable for a developing nation. The final piece of the economic puzzle for any rising nation is a reliable, affordable, and clean energy supply. For years, the Philippines has struggled with an energy deficit, relying on outdated power plants and facing frequent blackouts. This was a critical weakness that limited its growth and made it a less attractive destination for major investment. But now, they are on the verge of a game changer. The country is actively exploring the development of small modular nuclear power plants, a revolutionary technology that is safer, more efficient, and more sustainable than traditional nuclear energy. This new form of power could provide the stable baseload electricity needed to power a rapidly industrializing economy, attract even more foreign investment, and reduce the nation's carbon footprint. It's a bold vision, one that proves the Philippines is thinking not just years, but decades into the future. They are taking a calculated risk and embracing a new solution to a very old problem. This is a powerful signal of a nation that is no longer content to wait for change, but is actively creating it. But even all the infrastructure and energy in the world would be useless without the one resource that truly matters most, a resource the Philippines has in abundance. The ultimate long-term advantage of the Philippines is not its geography, or its natural resources, or even its infrastructure. It's its people. With a median age of just 25 years old, the Philippines is one of the youngest and most populous nations in the region. This is what economists call a demographic dividend, a massive growing pool of young, educated, and ambitious workers entering the workforce every single year. This is in stark contrast to aging populations in rivals like Thailand, where an older workforce and slower population growth could become a long-term economic drag. The Philippines has a seemingly endless supply of skilled labor, ready to fuel the booming service sector, the burgeoning manufacturing industry, and the entire consumer-driven economy for decades to come. This is the single most powerful asset a country can have. This is a workforce that is not just working but is also spending, driving private consumption, which accounts for over 70% of the country's GDP. This young population is the engine of today's growth and the promise of tomorrow's prosperity. But this bright future is not guaranteed. There are still some serious challenges that threaten to derail the entire journey. This incredible story of a rising economic giant would be incomplete without acknowledging the hurdles that still lie ahead. Despite the economic growth, income inequality remains a significant problem. While the middle class is growing, millions of Filipinos are still struggling with poverty. Political instability and corruption, while improving, have been a persistent challenge. And while the infrastructure push is real, there are still major gaps that need to be filled. For this growth to be sustainable, the benefits must be shared more equitably, and the institutions of government must become stronger and more transparent. These are not small problems. They are the final, and perhaps most difficult, challenges that the nation must overcome. They are the ghosts of the past that still haunt the nation's present. But unlike in the past, these problems are no longer an excuse. They are now the final bosses on the path to a brighter future. And the resolve to overcome them has never been stronger. So when you look back at this story, what you see is a new kind of economic narrative. This isn't a factory-first, goods-exporting nation like Thailand of the past. This is a people-first economy. The Philippines has built its wealth not on what it pulls from the ground, but on the intellectual and emotional labor of its people, both at home and abroad. It's a resilient, diversified, and human-centric model that has given it a unique advantage. The convergence of a young, digitally skilled population, a massive infrastructure push, strategic global partnerships, and the unwavering support of a global diaspora has created a perfect storm for growth. In the past, this nation was a sleeping giant. Today, it is wide awake, no longer content to be an underdog. The question is no longer if the Philippines surpass Thailand in this key metric, but how high can the rise of Asia's new economic giant truly soar? For a nation of islands, their future is no longer a world away. It's right here now. If this video gave you a new perspective on the global economy, please like and subscribe to the channel. And if you're interested in the human side of this economic boom, don't miss our next video where we dive deep into the lives of overseas Filipino workers in America, the unseen heroes of a global economy. You won't believe how these stories are connected. Click on the video now to find out more.